Excellence isn't a single event. It's a way of life. It doesn't come from one big moment of brilliance, but from the small, quiet choices you make every day. It's found in the habits you build, the standards you set for yourself, and the discipline you keep even when no one is watching. That's where real excellence is born. Many people think success is the result of luck, talent, or special advantages. They imagine that those at the top had better circumstances, unique gifts, or an easy head start. But the truth is different. Those who reach lasting success, those who rise to the top and stay there, are the ones who master the discipline of daily excellence. Because success is not built in a single day, it's built in the repeated, consistent choices you make when no one else sees. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, and the extra effort most people aren't willing to give. It's the decision to show up when you don't feel like it, to push through resistance, and to commit to the process no matter what. Excellence isn't a mood or a chase. It's who you become through daily practice. And here, what many overlook, excellence isn't perfection, it's consistency. It's not about being right every time, but about showing up with your best effort again and again. It's about holding yourself to a standard that doesn't bend or break. A mindset that says, I won't lower my standards to fit the world, I'll raise my standards to shape it. When you commit to daily excellence, success becomes inevitable. You no longer chase results, you attract them. You stop depending on motivation and start operating with discipline. You stop waiting for the right time and begin creating momentum through action. So the real question is, how do you build the mindset, the routines, and the systems that make excellence automatic? How do you train yourself to live at a higher standard until it becomes second nature? That's what we're going to uncover, not theories, but practical, proven habits you can apply today. Habits that reshape your thinking, sharpen your focus, and elevate your performance. Excellence isn't a destination or an outcome, it's a lifestyle. Once you learn how to master it daily, you'll naturally separate yourself from the rest. The first habit of daily excellence begins with mastering your mornings. The way you start your day determines how you live your day. Begin with clarity, discipline, and focus, and those qualities will carry into everything else. But if you start by hitting snooze, rushing, and reacting, you set yourself up for distraction and inconsistency. Excellence starts before the world wakes up. If you can win your morning, you can win your day. It's not just about waking up early, it's about waking up with intention. The best achievers in the world rise with purpose. They set their mind before anything else. Some journal, some use affirmations, some meditate, and others exercise to activate their energy. Different methods, same principle. They take charge of their first thoughts and actions. If you want to master daily excellence, your mornings cannot be negotiable. Build a routine that strengthens your mindset, fuels your body, and directs your focus. Even 10 minutes of intentional practice in the morning can rewire your brain and shift the course of your entire day. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel like doing it. They wait for motivation. They wait until conditions are perfect. But that's not how excellence works. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll stay stuck. Instead, train yourself to act regardless of your mood. One of the most powerful habits you can adopt is getting up the moment your alarm rings. The moment you hit snooze, you're teaching your mind procrastination. You're conditioning yourself to break promises. That small act of delay spreads into everything else you do. But if you commit to rising immediately with no debate, you create the habit of instant action. Starting your day with discipline sets the tone for discipline everywhere. Beginning with focus sharpens your brain to cut distractions. Starting with energy lifts your performance across the board. Success doesn't begin with grand achievements. It begins with simple, intentional choices. Master your mornings and you'll gain control of your life. The second habit of daily excellence is controlling your focus. Your attention is the most valuable currency you have. Whatever you give attention to multiplies. Focus on problems and problems grow. Focus on distractions and you lose time and energy. Focus on progress and results follow. Most people never learn to discipline their focus. They wake up with goals but end the day wondering where the time went. Excellence doesn't allow for that. It demands deliberate control of your attention. High performers aren't necessarily the smartest or most talented. They simply know how to eliminate distractions and direct their energy. They don't let the outside world dictate their priorities. They don't allow constant messages, requests, or interruptions to steal their mission. You must train your mind to focus like a laser. Set boundaries for your attention. Block time for deep work. Guard your focus like it's the foundation of your future, because it is. Excellence is born in the moments you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you say no to the trivial and yes to your mission, you strengthen the muscle of concentration. Distractions don't just waste time, they drain your energy. Every time you shift tasks, your mind pays a heavy cost to re-engage. It takes real effort to regain focus. That's why so many people feel drained at the end of the day, even though they've achieved very little. Their energy isn't gone because of work itself, but because they spent the entire day jumping from one thing to another, never fully locked in. The top performers live differently. They carve out blocks of uninterrupted, deep work. They train their brain to stay immersed in one task for long stretches. Because of this, they accomplish more in a few concentrated hours than most people do in an entire day. If you want to rewire your mind for excellence, you must learn to protect your focus. Remove the major distractions in your life. Take control of your surroundings. Guard your time fiercely. And above all, discipline yourself to keep your attention fixed on one thing at a time. The third habit of daily excellence is mastering self-discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not raw intelligence. Those who win in life are the ones who make themselves do what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like it. Most people depend on motivation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect mood or ideal circumstances. And that's exactly why they remain stuck, because motivation is temporary and unreliable. It rises and falls like the weather. But discipline, that's permanent. That's a muscle you build. And like any muscle, discipline strengthens the more you use it and weakens the more you neglect it. Every time you procrastinate, make excuses, or let yourself off the hook, you weaken it. But every time you follow through, push yourself, or honor your commitments, you make it stronger. The secret to building discipline is to eliminate negotiation. Most people lose before they even start because they give themselves space to debate. Should I go to the gym or skip today? Should I work or relax? Should I do it now or later? That back and forth drains energy and gives excuses room to grow. Top performers don't negotiate with themselves. They don't wait to feel motivated. They don't ask how they're feeling. They don't waste energy debating. They act because it's part of who they are. Discipline means making a decision once, then removing the discussion forever. If you've decided you're someone who wakes up early, the alarm isn't a question, you rise. If you've decided you're someone who works out daily, then it's not up for debate. If you've decided you're someone who honors commitments, then how you feel in the moment doesn't matter. The simplest way to build discipline is through small, daily commitments. Something as basic as making your bed, drinking water first thing, or sticking to a routine. Each small promise you keep strengthens your mental muscle of follow-through. That consistency then scales into larger goals, bigger results, and lasting transformation. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Some days will feel harder than others. Some days you'll want to quit. But those are the moments that matter most. That's when true discipline is forged, the discipline that separates the few who rise from the many who remain average. The fourth habit of daily excellence is relentless consistency. Most people can start strong, but very few continue with steady commitment. They get excited about a new habit, throw themselves into it, and feel unstoppable until life interrupts. Energy fades, obstacles appear, and before long, they've missed a day, then two, then three. Soon, they're right back where they began. Excellence isn't defined by bursts of effort. It's not about intensity. It's about repetition. Consistency is more valuable than a short sprint of effort. Doing something small every day will take you farther than doing a lot once in a while and then quitting. The highest achievers aren't the ones who go hardest in short bursts. They're the ones who keep showing up day after day, regardless of how they feel, regardless of whether the results are visible yet. Consistency is the bedrock of greatness in every area: health, business, personal growth, relationships. Most people fail because they expect results too soon. They work intensely for a few weeks, but when they don't see instant progress, they quit. Success doesn't work that way. Growth takes time. Results compound gradually. If you stop too early, you'll never experience the breakthrough. Those who achieve excellence understand this. They keep going even when there are no immediate signs of success. They trust the process. They know consistency builds momentum, and momentum creates transformation. The real key to consistency is removing the decision-making process. When something is optional, it becomes negotiable. But when it's a standard, it's automatic. You don't debate whether to brush your teeth each morning. You just do it because it's part of your identity. The same must be true of your habits. Your goals cannot be optional. Training your body cannot be optional. Honoring your commitments cannot be optional. You don't do them when you feel like it. You do them because they are who you are. The biggest mistake people make is relying on willpower. Willpower fluctuates, strong some days, weak on others. If your consistency depends on willpower, you'll constantly struggle. The way forward is through systems. Systems make success automatic. They lower the resistance between you and action. They make it easier to follow through, not harder. A system could mean setting aside a specific time each day for your most important work. It could mean preparing in advance so that taking action becomes effortless. It could mean tracking progress so your commitment stays visible. The goal is simple: remove decisions so that action becomes natural. Another secret to consistency is lowering the barrier to entry. Many people overwhelm themselves by making their goals too demanding: an hour-long workout, 3 hours of writing, massive daily progress. When life gets busy, those expectations crumble. Excellence doesn't require extremes. It requires persistence. Even if you only have 10 minutes, do something. Even if you're tired, take one small step. Even if you're not at your best, keep the streak alive. Because the moment you stop completely, quitting becomes easy. But if you keep the chain unbroken, momentum remains. Consistency isn't about perfection. You will slip. Life will interrupt. What matters is how quickly you return. Don't let a small mistake turn into weeks or months of lost progress. The people who stay consistent are the ones who refuse to let setbacks break their streak. If you want relentless consistency, raise your standards. See yourself as someone who always follows through. Make your habits non-negotiable. Remove the mental debate. And keep moving forward, even when results take time to appear. The fifth habit of daily excellence is raising and maintaining high personal standards. Your standards dictate your destiny. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. If you accept mediocrity, that's what your life will reflect. If you demand excellence of yourself, your life will rise to meet it. Most people lower their standards to match their environment. They adapt to what others are doing. Surrounded by laziness, they start making excuses. Surrounded by small thinkers, they begin shrinking their vision. Surrounded by corner cutters, they start cutting corners too. But real excellence is never about blending into your environment. It's about setting your standards high, no matter what's happening around you. It's about refusing to accept anything less than your absolute best. It's about holding yourself responsible for living with a stronger level of discipline, sharper focus, and flawless execution. Your personal standards shape the way you show up every single day. If your standard is to just get by, then that's all you'll ever achieve. If your standard is to only act when you feel motivated, then inconsistency will define you. But if your standard is to always give your best effort, regardless of circumstances, you immediately separate yourself from the crowd. Excellence isn't perfection. It's about constantly aiming to operate at your highest potential. It's about choosing discipline when others give in to excuses. It's about choosing focus when others chase distractions. It's about pushing forward when everyone else decides to stop. The mistake most people make is letting their emotions control their standards. They say, "I'll act when I feel ready," or "I'll try harder when results start to show." But that's backwards. Excellence is created by sticking to your standards, even when the motivation isn't there. High standards are built on non-negotiables. These are the commitments you honor no matter what. If your standard is to protect your health, skipping a workout is not an option. If your standard is to stay focused on your work, distractions have no place. If your standard is reliability, then following through becomes a must. You must clearly define your non-negotiables and enforce them without compromise. Every time you lower your standards, even slightly, you train yourself to accept excuses. But each time you hold firm, you reinforce the identity of someone who keeps their word and honors their commitments. One of the quickest ways to elevate your standards is by changing your environment. If you surround yourself with people who accept average effort, you'll eventually adapt to that level. But if you're around people who demand excellence of themselves, who consistently push for more, you'll naturally rise with them. Excellence is contagious. When you immerse yourself in an environment where high standards are the norm, you won't have to force yourself to rise. You'll rise automatically. Laziness won't feel acceptable. Inconsistency won't feel normal. Mediocrity won't feel comfortable. But your environment is only part of the equation. The real test of your standards comes when nobody is watching, when no one's there to hold you accountable, when it's easy to cut corners, slack off, or give less than your best. That's when your true standards show. Discipline means doing the right thing even when no one would know if you didn't. It's pushing yourself when there's no immediate payoff. It's holding yourself to a higher standard even when everyone else lowers theirs. That's what separates greatness from mediocrity. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lower their standards when life gets difficult. They let emotions dictate effort. They let setbacks convince them to quit. But those who succeed, those who achieve excellence, stick to their standards through every challenge, every failure, and every obstacle. If you want to master daily excellence, you must raise your standards in every area of life. How you work, how you train, how you face adversity, and how you treat others. Every moment is a chance to reinforce the identity of someone who refuses to accept anything less than their best. The sixth habit of daily excellence is mastering decisive action. Most people hesitate. They overthink. They second-guess themselves. They analyze every possible outcome until opportunities slip away. In that hesitation, progress dies. Excellence thrives on speed of execution, the ability to decide and act without hesitation. It's about trusting yourself enough to move forward, even without all the answers. It's about stepping into action, taking risks, and adjusting as you go. Winners aren't the ones who make the perfect decisions. They're the ones who make fast decisions. They don't wait for the stars to align. They don't waste hours debating whether to start. They don't live in analysis paralysis. They act. And through action, they create momentum. Hesitation itself is a habit. Every time you delay, you strengthen the habit of inaction. Your brain starts associating decisions with stress, fear, and overthinking. Soon, it becomes harder to act on anything. The quickest way to break that cycle is to train yourself to act instantly. The moment you know you need to do something, move. Speak up in the meeting before doubt creeps in. Make the important call before hesitation grows. Start the task before your mind finds excuses. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. When you condition yourself to act immediately, you strip hesitation of its power. You rewire your identity into someone who takes action no matter what. The greatest lie people tell themselves is that they need more time to think, more time to plan, more time to prepare. But most of the time, thinking more doesn't create better decisions. It creates no decision. It locks you into overthinking and stalls progress. Decisiveness is a skill, and like any skill, it strengthens with practice. The more fast, firm decisions you make, the more confidence you build in your ability to figure things out as you go. You realize you don't need all the answers, you just need to begin. The secret to decisive action is trusting your instincts. Deep down, you already know what needs to be done. Your gut tells you, your experience tells you, but instead of acting, you hesitate. You let fear and doubt paralyze you, and in that hesitation, momentum slips away. The most successful people trust themselves enough to act. They know mistakes are just part of the process and they adjust along the way. Because they act faster, they accomplish more. They learn faster. They grow faster. Hesitation destroys momentum, and momentum is the engine of success. When you're in motion, discipline becomes easier, confidence grows, and progress accelerates. But when you hesitate, you create resistance where none should exist. You turn simple decisions into impossible ones. One of the easiest ways to train decisive action is the 5-second rule. The moment you know you need to move, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and go. Start before your mind has the chance to talk you out of it. The hardest part is always starting, but once you do, momentum takes over. The more you practice immediate action, the more natural it becomes to act decisively in every area of life. If you want excellence, you must learn to act. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when conditions are perfect, now. Every great success story begins with one decisive step. The seventh habit of daily excellence is building mental toughness. Excellence isn't only about skill, it's about resilience. It's about how well you handle pressure, adversity, and setbacks. Because no matter how talented or hardworking you are, life will test you. Challenges will arise. Obstacles will appear. And without mental toughness, you'll collapse under the weight of resistance. Most people are soft. The moment life gets hard, they fold. The second discomfort shows up, they quit. The instant they fail, they retreat. But the mentally tough, they keep going, they endure, they rise stronger. That's the true mark of excellence.